Hello. Yeah, I think it's audible. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, okay, fine, fine. Okay, so let's get started. Now, this is another class on percentage. Okay, so if you see here, percentage actually is a very important chapter, especially in the recent years. That's why we are taking two classes of it. Okay, now if you see here, this is, see this part. So except for 2023 where they had some other plans, other than that you can see 3-4 questions are every year coming, okay, from this chapter of percentage. So it's an important chapter. Now the plan for today is that we'll first do certain price and quantity based questions, and then what I have done is basically the questions are very miscellaneous, so randomly they are mixed and they use the concepts of percentage. Okay, so then we'll start practicing all those questions, and through questions we'll keep learning how to do particular types of questions. Understood? Now let's get started. So first thing, you just understand this is another way to write percentage. Okay, many of you know would know that is, if there is something of price p and it is increased by, the price is increased by 10%, then how we usually write this, p into 10% increase means 100 plus 10, that is 110 by 100. Now don't you think that if I just divide 110 by 100, actually what I get is, if you cancel 0 and 0 and 11 by 10, that means it is equal to 1.1 p. Correct? Simple. Now so this is another way to write percentage. Okay, for example, if I ask you 65%, so 65% of, let's say, p, then one way is 65% of p, writing it like this, or you can also write it like 0.65, because again you will divide it by 100, so this becomes 0.65 p. Okay, so this is the way to write it. Now if I say 130% or 30% increase, then you know this will be 130 by 100, or in other words you can just write 1.3. Correct? So this is another way that we will sometimes use. Okay, this is sometimes prettier to write and do. Okay, then now we come to price and quantity. See, so what I have seen, yes Satish, so what I have seen that in price and quantity, what UPSC is doing is they are not giving direct price and quantity questions. Okay, so I will tell you something which is little deeper than price and quantity based questions. If you understand that, then you will be able to tackle all those questions much better. Okay, now see this. So in SSC and all other exams, what they do, they keep giving very similar price and quantity based question, that price of something is increased by 25%, and then quantity has to be reduced by what? Then price and quantity both are changed, expenditure has to remain same, then what to do? So they have very short tricks, this, that, to do it. But have a core understanding. Okay, that is more important for CSAT. Now, if you take any two things, this you understand that price into quantity was equal to expenditure, which used to remain same. That was the type of all these price and quantity questions. Now see, this is not necessarily only for price and quantity. Okay, understand this. If there are any two quantities that works like this, that is a into b is equals to k, where k is constant. Correct? Then if k is constant, now if I tell you that a is increasing by some percent, correct, then b also has to reduce proportionally to make the multiplication same as k, so then b has to reduce. Correct? Similarly, if a is decreasing, b has to increase. So you understand, if you somehow are able to find this equation, that is a into b is equals to k, where k is a constant, you can always write that a is inversely proportional to b. And if a is inversely proportional to b, This is same as price and quantity questions. Understood? Okay, if you have this understanding, then you won't get stuck anywhere. Otherwise, you will become a tight magician. That if that is a particular type of question, then you are very quick at doing it in 10 seconds. And if it is slightly twisted, then you are gone. Okay. Then, so now what you will have to do, you just have to see old and new for these two quantities A and B and whatever comes here. And that will give you whatever you are trying to calculate with respect to percentage changes. If A is changing, B is changing, both are changing, all of them. Okay, now if you get this, then let's see this question. This is not directly price and quantity. Okay, just try to devise what may be A and B here such that they're equal to K, which is a constant. Let's read the question. The tank full petrol in Arun's motorcycle lasts for 10 days. Correct? Then, now, this is tank full petrol. Now, next, if he starts using 25% more every day, how many days will the tank full petrol last? What do you think is constant? If you have a bike or a scooty or whatever, you do know that whatever is the capacity of the tank, that does not change. Correct? Tank capacity is constant. So what is constant? Full tank capacity is constant. This you understand? That is the amount or quantity that can be carried. Amount of petrol that can be here in your bike is the same. Now what is changing? Just see this. So Arun's motorcycle lasts for 10 days. Okay, if he starts using 25% more every day. Now what are the two quantities here? What is this full tank capacity equal to? Whatever Arun consumes in a day, that is his daily consumption into number of days, is equals to full tank capacity. Can you feel this? If every day, let's say he consumes 2 liters of petrol, then this full tank is lasting 10 days. So every day he consumes 2 liters of petrol, 2 liters of petrol, then it lasts for 10 days. Then what is the capacity of the tank? Very easily 2 into 10, correct? So this is a 20-liter tank. This you are able to understand. So now these are your real variables. Now if you get this intuitively, that is daily consumption into number of days is equals to fuel tank capacity, then you can do this very easily. Now see, so basically this is constant, this is constant. Now if this is constant, both of these are opposite to each other. So now I write old and new. Okay, what was the old consumption? I don't know. Let's assume it. The old consumption was, daily consumption was C. Then it says if he starts using 25% more every day. So the new consumption will become what? New consumption will become 25% more, correct? So it becomes, let's say, 125 by 100 C. This you understand? Correct? Now, initially, earlier it used to last 10 days. So this is consumption is done. Now the earlier D was equals to 10. This is the number of days it lasted. Now you need to find how many days will it last. So I am keeping this X. Correct? Old, new, simple. Now according to the question, daily consumption into number of days has to be constant. So this becomes what? This becomes C into 10 is equals to 125 by 100 C into X. Correct? Very clearly, C and C you can cancel out. Now you have 125 by, let me write it here. So C into 10 is equals to 125 by 100 C into X. Now it goes 5 times, it goes 4 times by 25. Then 5 and 10 you can cancel this out, 1 time, 2 time. C and C can also be cancelled out. What remains? 2 and 4. 4 you can send here. So X came out to be 4 into 2, that is 8 days. This becomes your answer. Okay, if you understand it like this, then you will be able to do any question which are twisted in any way. Okay, so please try to understand it. Of course, I can also write this equation directly. Okay, and then it will feel to you that this is very fast. You don't have to do fast. Okay, this is not banking exam where you have 50 questions in 20-25 minutes. I don't know. Okay, this is CSAT where you get 2 minutes. Easily 2 minutes you have for mathematics question. So please try to develop understanding. Then let's do this again. Let's do this again. This is what the price of petrol before hike was this. Then he was able to travel 2200 kilometer. Okay, the price was increased by 10%, and then what he is able to then what he is able to travel. Okay, now here also what I can do is, if you see, price is inversely proportional to quantity, but here here if the price of petrol increases, then what will decrease? The quantity has to decrease. Now, if the price of petrol increases, quantity decreases, then the number of kilometers that he can go, that also decreases. Can you feel this? If the price shot up, you have the same money, then you can go shorter distance because you will have less petrol, correct? So that means this is inversely proportional to 1 by d, or distance also, correct? Now, once you have this, P is inversely proportional to, or price is inversely proportional to distance. Now you can write old and new. Okay, what was the old price? The old price was 90. What is the new price? New price is shot up by 10%. So new price becomes 99. This is price. Then if you see what was the earlier distance he was going, so earlier distance that he was going was 2200 kilometer. Then how much he will go now? Again, P into D will be constant, correct? So what you get is 90 into 2200 is equals to 99x. Again, you can solve this. This goes by 11. You can cancel out. This goes 9 times. This goes 200 times. 9 ones are 9. This goes 10 times. So 200 into 10, 2000 kilometer is what you can go now. Earlier you were going 2200 kilometer. Now you are going 2000 kilometer. What is the difference? How much less you will have to travel? So this will be 2200 minus 2000, which is equals to 200 kilometer you will have to reduce it. So answer becomes B. Yes, Shweta. Okay, now try doing this. Little bit you will have to think. This is direct price and quantity, so that is not a problem. Old and new. Write down the old price, then the new price, old quantity, new quantity. Focus on the question. What was the original price per kg is asked. Okay, Dheeraj. Okay, so now if the old price was P, then the price was increased by 25%. So it became 125 by 100p, or if you want you can write 1.25p also. This you understand. Then next thing, now it says because of this price increase a person buys 6 kg less rice for 1200 rupees due to a 25% hike. So because of this price rise, now whatever the quantity he was buying, now he can buy 6 kgs less. So if the original quantity was q, now he is able to buy 6 kgs less. Correct? Now the expenditure is constant, which is 1200 rupees. So that remains constant. That means I can multiply both of these and they should be equal. Okay. So what you get here? You get here P into Q is equals to 125 by 100 P into Q minus 6 and we'll first solve this, but please keep it in your mind. P into Q is equals to what? This is equals to the expenditure, which is 1200 rupees. Okay, this we will use later, that this thing is equals to 1200 rupees. Now, right now, let's just solve this P and Q. Now, first thing that I see, I can cancel out P. No problems, correct? Now I can cancel this out as well. Wait, I will write it again and then cancel. P into Q, 125 by 100 P into Q minus 6. Now, I can cancel this out with 25. This goes 5 times, this goes 4 times. P and P cancel out. Then I can send 4, 5 by 4. There it will become 4 by 5. So this becomes 4 by 5 Q is equals to Q minus 6. Fine till here? Then, then, then you can send 6 here and 4 by 5 Q there. So this becomes 6 is equals to Q minus 4 by 5 Q, which is 1 by 5 Q. Correct? Q minus 4 by 5 Q. Then Q becomes what? 5 into 6, that is 30 kg. This is not the answer. This is not the answer. What it is asking you? It is asking you in terms of rupees. What was the original price per kg? Now you have got the value of Q. You put it here. This has to be equal to 1200. Correct? The expenditure is price of 1 kg into number of kgs. So from here I take it and I write P into, in place of Q I write 30. This is equals to 1200 rupees. Correct? How many times this will go? So P is equals to 1200 by 30. 0 0 cancel. This goes 4 times and 0. This is equals to 40 rupees. Answer is P. Yes, Dheeraj, yes, Neelam. Understood? Simple? Okay. Then. So there are certain questions where instead of solving a lot, what is required is just for you to have some, apply some logic and formulate the equations. Okay, just this you have to do. For example, if you read questions like these, like this, half of the villagers own house, 1/5 cultivate paddy, this, then there are some conclusions you have to draw from whatever is given to you. Now here, of course, the thing is that you just have to apply some logic and you have to formulate the basic equations if there is need. Now, because this is different every time, so there is no other solution than practicing questions. So this is what we are going to do, because every time it is all about having that logic of what is given in the question. This is not a fixed type. Okay, now let's get started. So this is the question. Raju has 9,000 rupees, which is 75% of the amount required to buy a mobile. He borrows 2,000 from a friend. What happens? Okay, so what happens? Raju is 9,000 rupees. Now, what is this 9,000? This 9,000 is, which is 75% of the amount required to buy a mobile. Okay, now, first thing, let mobile be of price M. Let the price of mobile be M. Then 75% of this amount. So that means 75% of M, which is the price of one mobile. This is given equal to, what? 9,000 rupees. Correct? This is what this line means. Raju has 9,000 rupees, which is 75% of the amount required to buy a mobile. Then let's find out the price of mobile. So price of mobile will be what? This goes how many times? 3 times, 4 times. Correct? 3 by 4 by 25. Then 3 and 9,000. Okay. Then cancel. 75 by 100 into m is equals to 9,000, and then this goes 3 times, this goes 4 times, 3 ones are 3, this goes 3,000. So m came out to be 3,000 into 4, that is 12,000 rupees. Mobile kitne ka hai? What is the price of mobile? Mobile price is 12,000 rupees. Now how much Raju has? Raju has 9,000 rupees. Correct. Plus. Read the question. It says he borrows 2,000 from a friend. So that means if he borrows 2,000 more, then he has, apart from this 9,000 which he already originally had, he got 2,000 more. Now finally how much Raju has? Finally he has 11,000 rupees. Is this enough to buy the mobile? No, of course not. Correct? Because mobile is of 12,000 rupees, Raju still has only 11,000 rupees. So now it says he still does not have enough money to buy the phone. How much money he's lacking? He's lacking 1,000 rupees. If he gets that from somewhere, then only he can buy the mobile phone. Yes, Dheeraj. Yes, Shweta. Yes, Neela. Okay, then next. Similar question. A has 10 rupees, which is 80% of the fare for 2 bus tickets. B gives 3 rupees to A. What happens? Okay, so A has 10 rupees, which is 80% of the fare for 2 bus tickets. B gives this much. What happens? Then, if you look at the question, it is not talking about ever buying one ticket. So it is all about buying 2 tickets only. Okay, if you look at the options, then you don't need to consider fare for 2 tickets. It is ultimately the amount of money that A needs. That A needs is actually 80%. Only 80% of it is what A has. Okay, so whatever money A has 10 rupees, which is 80% of the fare. Whatever is the fare for both of them combined, 80% of this is what A has. Now, how much A has? How much A has? A has 10 rupees. So this becomes 80 by 100 into whatever fare is there. A has 10 rupees. Let's find out the fare. What is the fare? So this goes, how many times this goes? This goes 4 times, correct, by 20. This goes 5 times. I can send it there, correct, or I can cancel it one more times. Let's say this goes 2 times and this becomes 5. Then fare is equals to what? 5 into 5 is 25. 25 by 2. This comes out to be 12.5 rupees. Okay. Now. So basically the fare is 12.5 rupees. How much A had? A had A finally what A has. So A earlier had 10 rupees. Now read the question. It says B gives 3 rupees to A. Now if B gives 3 rupees to A, what he'll have? He'll have 10 plus 3, that is 13 rupees. How much is needed for the ticket? 12.5 rupees was needed. He has 13 rupees. So of course he can buy the tickets and also will have some money left. How much money left? If you just take the difference, so basically 0.5 rupees is what will be left as, understood. So now it says A will have 0.5 left after buying tickets. C becomes the answer. Yes, Dheeraj. Yes, Neelam. Okay, now why? So somebody has said A also. Yes, Satish. So basically, why A is not correct? Because C is a much better option that is available. Also, it says A has just enough to buy 2 tickets. Okay, if C was not there, then you could have marked the 0.5 with the bacha. Only 0.5 is remaining. Then you could have marked A. But a much better option is already there, which is A will have 0.5 left after buying the tickets, which is more accurate. So answer is actually C. Understood? If C was not there, then A could have been marked. Then let's do more. Let's do this. So it says half of the villagers own houses. So half of the villagers have houses. Then 1/5 cultivate paddy. So 1/5 cultivate paddy. Then 1/3 are literate. So 1/3 are literate. Then and 4/5 are under 25 years of age. Correct? What statement is certainly correct? What is certainly correct? Now one thing I can tell you about questions like this. See, if you remember a Venn diagram, when I said that there will be intersection, if you remember, the first example that we did in Venn diagram was that I said to the class that either you have samosa or vada. Then I found out that more than the number of people in the class, much more than that, samosas and vadas were taken. That means one thing that I got from it, if you remember, it was like there were 50 vadas and 70 samosas, and total 90 people were there in the class. So from this, if there are 90 people and samosas and vada together is 120, that means there must be some intersection, that is the people who had both samosa and vada. Okay, this you remember. Now actually same thing you have to search for here also. Now eventually what you want is, if you take any of them and the sum of them crosses 1, then that gives you a complete or absolute conclusion. So basically, if the sum of all these scenarios, any of them becomes greater than 1, then only you can get a definite conclusion. Okay, so this is the most common thing, that you will get a definite conclusion when the sum of them actually crosses 1. Now, if you read the statements, then first, all house owners are literate. So this is house owners, this is literate. Is the sum crossing 1? No. You will not get a definite conclusion. Then some villagers under 25 are literate. So some villagers under 25, okay, this and literate is this. Is the sum crossing 1? 4 by 5 and 1 by 3. This is like 33%. This is like 80%, correct? So 80 plus 33, definitely crossing 100% or 1. So this will give me a definite conclusion. And yes, some villagers under 25 have to be literate. There is no other possibility, because if I draw it like this, so then if I draw two diagram like this, where this is under 25 villagers this is literate villages, they must have an intersection. Understood? Now, why I have told you all this? So that you don't have to write this. Okay, so you first thing that you see here, half, one fifth, one third, fourth, fifth. Now, this you should mark. This is much larger. Now, combination of this with anything has the most probability of getting to greater than 1. Then you just see some villages under 25 are literate. So, literate is one third. You see this is very clearly crossing 1, answer becomes B. Understood? Yes, yes, Dheeraj, yes, Shweta, yes, Satish. Good. Then, yeah, do this. This is good. This is like your UPSC. Okay, that this is a competitive exam which have 60% men, 40% women. Yeah, just like UPSC, 70% men and 75% women cleared the first stage. In the final stage, 80% men and 70% women succeeded, which is correct. One hint I can give you, that when do you say that I have cleared UPSC? Huh? When you clear all the stages. So here also you want that only, not just the first stage. You just directly calculate number of men who succeeded will be the ones who clear all the stages. Number of women who succeeded will be equal to all women who cleared all the stages. Yes, Satish, you can. See the option. Success rate is higher for women. Overall success rate is below 50%. More men cleared than women. And option D is both A and B. Runjhun. Yes. Yes, Neelam. Yes, Ranjan. Okay, so what you should do, see, of course, if you just start taking numbers, then you can get to absolute numbers. Okay, and you can get to the answer. I believe in you. That much you can do. Now, let's see a way how you can see this much more clearly. Okay, without much calculation. Now, first thing, I'm writing here total. Let's say the total participants or aspirants. Let's write aspirants. So total aspirants is equals to T. This is fine. Now I am writing here men who cleared the exam. Men who cleared the exam. How many men cleared the exam? So if total is T, then this exam had 60% men. So how many men are there? T into 60 by 100. Then how many of them, how many of men? I'm only focusing on men. 60% men, then 70% men cleared the first stage. So this is into 70 by 100. Then in the final stage, 80% men cleared. Correct. So this is into 80 by 100. This is what? This is the number of men who cleared. Correct. Now let's write number of women who cleared the exam. This will be whatever is the total into. Now how many women are there? Women are 40%. Correct. So this is 40%. Then next is 75% women cleared the first stage. So this is 75 by 100. And then 70% women succeeded in the final stage. So this is 70 by 100. Now, you need not calculate it. Ultimately, you are comparing men and women. Correct. So if you can just find out which one is greater, that would be enough. Okay, now let's see. First thing, if I am comparing these two, whatever is common is not important, correct? That will not cause any difference. So you can cancel out t and t. Also 70 by 100, 70 by 100, this is common. Now what do you think, which is bigger, 60 or this 100 also you can cancel out? Okay, 60 into 80 is bigger or 40 into 75 is bigger? What do you think? 60 into 80 is 8 6 are 48 and 48. So basically this is 4800 and here 40 into 75. So 75 into 2 is 150. 150 into 2 is 300. So basically this is 3000. Correct? Which is greater? Clearly men cleared is much greater. Also just by seeing you understand 60 into 80 is much bigger than 40 into 75. Understood? That means more men cleared. Answer becomes C. More men cleared than women. Yes, Shweta. Yes, Satish. Okay, then. Now, do this. This is from 2025. As I had shown you in that graph, last 2 years there were three questions. Then in 21 there was 4, 22 there was 3. So like this. 23 there was 0. Okay. This is X. What do you think? Anybody? Okay, see. Now it says Team X scored total n runs in 20 overs, n runs 20 overs. This I have written. Then Team Y tied the score in 10% less overs. So 10% of 20 is 2, correct? So I subtracted 2. I say that in 18 overs they scored n runs. Then the question says if the run rate was 50% higher, then they would have scored n runs. If the run rate was 50% higher, the scores would have been tied in 12 overs. Correct? This is what is given. Now this is like a random thing being told to you. India versus Australia is going on. Australia scored some runs, India scored those same runs in 18 overs. Then if Virat Kohli was not playing for his century, then we would have completed this match in 12 overs. How much did Australia score? Can you tell? This is all just talks. Because there is no absolute numbers, you cannot determine it. As I gave you example, Whatever Australia made, we made in 18 overs. If Virat Kohli was playing faster, then the run rate would have been higher by 50%, let's say, and we would have won in 12 overs. It does not tell you anything. Australia may have scored, it may be a T20 match, Australia may have scored 200, it may be a one-day match, so Australia may have scored 400. We don't know anything. Correct? So 200, 400, 500, whatever runs. So basically, you don't have any absolute numbers, and that is why the answer is very clearly cannot be determined. Okay. इधर नहीं है, बाद में. Okay, so how many runs were scored by X? You cannot determine this. Then, now, there are sometimes in percentage questions, they mix linear equations. So basically what you have to do, you have to formulate the equations as well and then solve them. So basically first you have to do what? You just read the question, find what is asked. So just read the last line of the question, that how much money did X make? How much money, what is the difference between the money that X and Y has? So just read the last line to guess what is being asked. Now whatever is being asked, that you assign variables to it. Correct? So you will assign that, let's say X is earning X amount of money and Y is earning Y amount of money, or A amount of money, B amount of money. That is how you assign variables. Once variables are assigned, then you read the other statements, the initial statements, 1, 2 statements. Then in almost all the questions, what you will find, that you are able to, based on it, write two equations. And this will be based on the assigned variables. Whatever variables you had assigned, like X, Y, all this. Then finally, you have to solve the equations. Okay. Now, how do you solve the equations? This I hope you do know, which is substitution method or elimination method. I hope you can do this, like 2x plus 3y is equals to 5. Then 3x minus 2y is equals to 1. Then hopefully you can find x and y. Correct? This everybody can do. Solving very basic equations. Then if you can do this, then let's start seeing the questions. Very simple. First question. A firm produces 1000 units daily, but 5% are defective. How many days to fulfill 19,000 unit order? Correct? What you have to find? Number of days. Correct. So number of days that are needed. This is what you need to find. Number of days needed is what? Is, let's say, D. Correct. Now it says the firm produces 1000 units daily, but 5% are defective. So effectively, how much the firm is manufacturing? Huh? Effective production is what? Effective production is what? Effective production is 1000 units daily, but 5% are defective. So you just remove those 5%. Effective production is what? 95 by 100 into 1000. Correct? How many times this will go? 2 zeros and 2 zeros cancel. 95 into 10 is 950 units. So that means effectively they are making 950 units in one day. How much is the order? The order is of 19,000 units. Order is of 19,000 units per day they make. So basically in one day they make 950 units. That means 1 unit they make in how much? 1 by 950 day. Then I ask you, in how many days they will make 19,000 units? So simple, just whole concept kind of thing. So basically 190, so this becomes 19,000 upon 950. How many times? 0 0 cancel, 95 ones are, this goes 95 twos are, 95 twos are is 190, so this becomes 2 0. So answer becomes C 20. How many days required? 20. Yes, Most of you got it correctly. Then next, P scored 40 marks more than Q. If Q scored 10% less than P, how much did Q score? Very simple. Again, P scored 40 marks more than Q. How much did Q score? Okay. Now, this is the question. So, what should be the variables? I assign variable that the marks got by them are P and Q respectively. So, P got P marks, Q got Q marks. If I take variables like this, it becomes very easy to find out which was what. Or if I take P scored X marks, Q scored Y marks, then eventually at last I have to see X kiska tha, for whom I assigned X, for whom I assigned Y. So just take it P and Q. Now, first line, P scored 40 marks more than Q. That means P got whatever Q got 40 marks more than that. Then if Q scored 10% less than P, so Q scored 10% less than P. So that means Q is equals to what? 10% less than P. So that is P into 10% less, 90 by 100. Simple. Correct. Now, how much did Q score is the question. So very simply, what you can do, you can put the value of Q here, or you can just directly replace P also. So this becomes what? From this you can write down, this is equals to 0 0, you can cancel, this is equals to 10 by 9Q, this is equals to P. Now you put it here, it becomes 10 by 9Q is equals to Q plus 40, or you just subtract it here. So this becomes 10 minus 9 is 1 by 9Q is equals to 40. 10 by 9 minus 1, so 9 will go above. So 10 minus 9 is 1 by 9Q. Correct? Then you can send 9 there. So Q becomes 9 into 40, that is 360. And answer is, how much did Q score? 360 marks. Yes, yes, Dheeraj, yes, Neelam, yes, Satish. By the way, there is another way to do this. This is, see, the difference between P and Q in terms of absolute numbers is also equal to whatever difference they have in terms of, or in percentage terms. Okay, now it says if Q scored 10% less than P, so that means percentage in terms of P, correct? So here, what is the difference in terms of percentage? 10% of P, correct? And how much is the difference? How much is the difference? Difference is 40, correct? So if 10% of P, if let's write it 10% only. So if 10% of P is 40, then what is 100% of P? Just multiplying 10 on both sides, correct? So P came out to be 400, and that is why Q is what? 40 less than this. So 40 less than this Q becomes 360. Q is equals to P minus 40. Understood? Many ways to do the same question. Then try to do this. Okay, now here, see, you can make arguments here and there that how can you say this, how can you say that, but the question gives you very limited variables. So you have to assume age of the adult is married. So what you will have to assume? The assumption is this city is in some far off island that is not known to anybody. So that means any man who is married to a woman from the same city. If you assume this, then only you can solve this. So 40% of men, so 40% of men, whatever is there, is equals to 30% of women. Why equal? Because if you have seen marriages, then how many male and female are getting married? one male and one female. So the ratio is equal, or equal number of males and females get married. Correct? So I equate both of these. From here, what I get, I can just cancel this out. So 100 and 100 cancel out, 0 and 0 cancel out. What I get is 4m is equals to 3w. This I get. Then what is the percentage of adult population that is married? So this is now very simple. So basically, here I write married, and here I write total people into 100. This is what I am trying to find. How many people are married? How many people are married? So how many people are married? 4m is equals to 3w is equals to number of married male or female. Correct? This is fine. So now how many people are married? You can take any of them. So let's say I take m. So this becomes number of men who are married is 4m plus number of women who are married is 3w, but anyway 3w is equals to 4m. So this also I can take as 4m. This is the total married population. Then upon total number of people, how many people are there in total? In total, there are m plus w. Correct? Now, wait. Let me simplify it. So total number of people who are married out of the total people. This we are trying to find. Now, 40% of men are married. Okay, so I write 40% of men are married, and how many women are married? 30% of women. 30% of women. So 0.3 W. This is correct. These many women are married upon total people are what? M plus W. Now you just have to put the value of M or W any way you like it. So I put it here. This becomes 0.4 M plus this 0.3 W can be written as, from here I can write this is 0.4 M is equals to 0.3 W. Correct? I multiply or divide both sides by 10. So this becomes 0.3 W becomes again 0.4 M. This you can understand more clearly. Then M plus W is equals to what? Whatever is M, and W is what? W is 4 by 3 M. So this becomes 4 by 3 M. Now M of course gets cancelled out. 0.4 plus 0.4 is equals to 0.8 divided by. Now 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 by 3 M. All M's are cancelled out. 3 you can send here. It becomes 2.4 by 7 into 100. Correct? This is the percentage that you will be getting. How many times this will be divided? You can just multiply. So this becomes 240 by 7. How many times? This goes 3 times. Then 3 remains with 30. It goes 4 times. 2 remains with 20. Or you just have an option where 2 is left, division by 7. So 34 2 by 7%. C becomes the answer. Okay, little bit of calculation, but otherwise fine. Main concept was that you identify that the number of men and number of women who are married is equal. Okay, then yeah, let's do this. So a person buys 3 article P, Q and R for 3,300 rupees. P costs 25% more than R, R costs 20% more than Q. Then what is the cost? First thing what we do? We find the independent variable. Which is independent? P costs 25% more than R. So P is dependent on R, correct? And then R cost 20% more than Q. Then R is dependent on Q. What is independent? Q is independent. So you will assign values, or you can keep the same variable for Q. Correct? So let's say why I am keeping the same variable rather than taking 100 is because ultimately I don't have the question in percentage. So I need to get to absolute numbers. One absolute number is also given to me. So let's just assume it in variables. So now this becomes Q. Now it says R costs 20% more than Q. 20% more than Q means what? 1.2 Q. This we have learned. Correct? 20% more than Q. Then next thing, P cost 25% more than R. P cost 25% more than R. Now what you will do? So 25% more than R. So that means 1.25 of R. This you understand? This is equal to P. Now 1.25 in place of R I am putting 1.2 Q. This is equals to P. Now 1.2 into 1.25. If you multiply this, what you will get? You will get 1.5 Q. This is equals to P. Understood? So if you multiply 1.25 into 12, you can see 12 5s are 60, 0 here, 6 carry, 12 2s are 24 plus 6, 0 here, 3 carry, 12 1s are 12 plus 3, 15. Okay, you can do the calculation. So it becomes 1.5 Q is equals to P. So I have put value here 1.5 Q. Now everything is in terms of Q, correct? Now it is asking you if that sum total is 3300. Sum total is 3300 means what? P plus Q plus R is equals to 3300. Fine, just put the values. Put the values. 1.5 Q plus 1.2 Q is equals to 3300. This becomes what? 1.2 plus 1.5 is 2.7. 2.7 plus 1 is 3.7 Q is equals to triple three zero. Okay, now you can just remove this decimal and add 1 0 here. So this becomes 37Q is equals to 33300. Correct? Multiplying both sides by 10. Now this is why number system becomes important. So in number system we learn about a special number, that is 111 is equals to 37 into 3. This will anyway remember. So for students who had done number system with me, for them it was fine. Why? Because they could see that 333 is there. It is very easily cancelled by 37. Anyway, if you don't know, you just start dividing. So this goes one time. Now 333, difficult to see, but if you can see, this is 37 into 9. Correct? 370 minus 37 will give you 333. Correct? So this goes how many times? This goes 9 times and 0 0. So Q came out to be 900 rupees. But it is not asking you about Q. Correct? It is not asking you about Q. It is asking you about P. P is what? P is 1.5 Q. So that means 1.5 is what? 3 by 2 into 900. Correct? You can use 1.5 also. How many times? One time. This is 450. 450 into 3 is 450 into 3 is, this is 0. 5 3s are 15. 5 here, 1 carry, 4 3s are 12 plus 1. 12 plus 1, 13. So 1350. D becomes the answer for the cost of. Yes, Dheeraj. Yes, Ranjan. Yes, Shweta. Good, good. Okay. Then do this. A student needs 40% marks to pass. He got 30 marks and failed by 30 marks. What was the maximum marks? Or maximum marks is what? It is actually asking you the total marks of which the test was. Think, formulate the equations, you'll get the answer. Okay, see, if I tell you that I got 10 marks in exam and I failed by 23 marks. I got 10 marks in my math paper, okay, and I failed by 23 marks. Correct? Now, can you tell me the passing marks? Isn't the passing marks sum of the marks that I got and the marks that I failed by? So I add them both and I say 33 marks would have been the passing marks. That is why if I got 10, I failed by 23 marks. Correct. Same thing is here also. Nothing much. If you understand this, and this is the same question. It says a student needs 40% marks to pass. Correct. So passing marks is 40%. Let it be. Then focus on this. He got 30 marks. Very good. And failed by 30 marks. So what is the passing marks? What is the passing marks? Passing marks will be whatever he got and whatever he failed by. So 30 plus 30, passing marks is 30 plus 30, that is equals to 60. Now this is passing marks. Correct. Passing marks is 60. Now, what is passing marks in terms of percentage? This is 40% marks to pass. That means 40% of total marks is equals to passing marks. This you understand? So 40% of total marks. So this becomes 40 by 100. Total marks is what I am trying to calculate. Passing marks is 60. Very easy to do now. This goes 2 times. This goes 3 times. This goes 1 time. This goes 50 times. T came out to be 50 into 3. That is 150. So what is the maximum marks or total marks? 150 is the maximum marks. Understood? Simple. Okay, so this is how you write equations and solve. Now these two are your homework. Very easy. I've kept the easier ones at the last. As you can see, a number is mistakenly divided by 4 instead of multiplying by 4. Simple percentage change you need to. These two are your homeworks. Okay, this is it for percentage. Tomorrow I'll see you for the next chapter. That's it. Thank you.